All right guys, in the last episode, as you can see, we got the inlet pipe on here. This is the PRL titanium inlet pipe. This time we're gonna be going back into the Type R here and putting on their high volume intake system. As the name suggests, it is gonna be a high volume intake. So we wanna make sure that we're getting as much air in there as we can. Obviously increasing the diameter of the inlet pipe is going to do that, but we also wanna make sure that we extend that to the intake system as well to get fresh air, cold air of course, so that way we can start to up the boost and hopefully make some more power.
I wish I had some sort of power tool to make this go by faster. Unfortunately, I'm all out of 1/4-inch adapters. So I have to do this by hand and carpal tunnel.
At least you're not doing it with a screwdriver.
It's true. So this little box opens up, and this is how you're gonna get the filter in here, because they kind of use a nifty system where they mount the filter in here, and it's like a standoff that's mounted inside there with these holes to hold it in place. It's a neat little system, and the box is like, at a quick glance, could almost like look like stock, but there's definitely some improvements to be had with the setup over factory. So definitely a neat piece for sure. You're gonna have a fun time installing it. Okay, so at this point I just kind of laid everything out on the table. I haven't gotten the old one out yet, but I wanted to take a peek here and see how everything goes together. That way I knew how much I needed to take off. With everything, most companies strive to make everything fit with, OEM mounting locations and stuff. So it's good practice to take a look at your product before you start taking it apart. That way, you're not taking off a bracket you're gonna need later, or vice versa. You should have taken something off that you're not gonna need anymore. So I like to lay things out and take a look at them, see how it goes together. Move it around bench to bench because I'm starting to run out of space with all these parts we've installed, but yeah, now we'll get to it.
Well, I was gonna say, I didn't understand why that one would be even better than this, but I can see where it just basically, because it has to go down in there first.
Yeah, so the factory one goes down and then it's a panel filter and it comes back up and then through, whereas theirs is just gonna come into the box
straight in. I gotcha.
Straight air is better air. The less bends, the less deviation you have, the better airflow characteristics. Also, there's some heat can be generated from those transitions because the air has to change direction, and any kind of direction change is going to add, it's all about science and stuff, things moving around. So try and keep the air as straight as possible.
Straight air is good air.
I'm here breaking my neck, looking over my shoulder.
So here's the top of the intake lid. You're gonna wanna make sure you pull your MAF out, otherwise you're gonna have a bad time. So at this point, I'm gonna set this over here so don't forget about it.
So here you can really see the design of the intake system.
Yeah, you can see how she goes. So it's got this little rubber piece on the bottom. So once you're for sure that this bottom bolt is all the way out, you kind of got to give it a little bit of a yank and then she'll come out. But now it's all out. We can put the new one in, kind of see what's going on down there. Some assembly required here. So this is the bracket that'll hold it on to the near the battery tray. So like we talked about taking this out, you have this rubber piece on the bottom of the intake. PRL reuses this, so you can just pop this out, being gentle with like a flathead screwdriver. You can pry this piece out, just being gentle not to break anything, and then it goes right here in the bottom. And we got this bracket on there. So now we're gonna put this inlet piece on, and almost forgot to talk about, got this nice MAF housing, comes in a separate box. So this kind of works like a little sandwich deal, So getting ready to put this all together. Got our MAF housing ready to go on. And this kind of works like a sandwich. This has threads. These are through bolts. Comes with your hardware. So this will go on in this side. This goes on obviously on the inside because this is where the filter is going to attach. It's kind of got like a coupler around here. It's cool. They got a built-in velocity stack in the MAF housing, which is a good feature to have. Throw this together, get the filter on there, close the door up, and then get it on the car.
So while Tiny's trying to find the right tools for that, I went ahead, I took off this piece off of the stock tubing right here. As you can see, just those 2 bolts, and then bolted it on here to hook up the rest of the hoses.
So went ahead and got this on here, got the MAF housing all good to go. Factory MAF removed from the factory housing, so we're gonna slap that in there like so. These ones are pretty foolproof in the sense that you can't put them in backwards, otherwise the flange doesn't line up, so not to worry there. I was a really big dummy for not putting this on to the filter first before putting it in the box. And then I just had one heck of a time trying to get this filter onto here. So I just took it all apart and did it over again because that seemed easier. This is a pretty tight fit, this adapter ring to the filter. What I found best is to get it on as best as you can at kind of an angle and then take your hand on the inside and push up on the silicone and it'll slide right into place like nothing. So that's my pro tip of the day. And now we're gonna get this in the box and get it all tightened up and get it on the car. All right. Okay, here's the box, ready to go back in. MAF's installed, filters installed, bracket installed, good to go. There we go. Just gotta make sure you got it lined up.
I'm here breaking my neck, looking over my shoulder. Stepped into your skin, got me tripping over myself. Figured I would say something, passing the time. If you come on over here, we could be on the same side.
Okay, so at this point, the way that I found to make this go easy is to have this piece kind of loose on here. Everything else can move around, and then you slide it all together. We'll just push this into its coupler home, and then it should sink down into where it's supposed to go. I'm gonna take this off, however. I don't want this on here right now. This might even be the wrong one. Sealed.
So from the factory, they give you this nice little bracket here for that MAF extension. It fits on there nicely with the stock intake, but obviously with this one, it's not gonna sit on there too hot. So they do give you the nice braided piece that you can take this off and still have protection, because protection is a good thing, and it'll reach on the new intake system.
On over here, we could be on the same side. On the same side.
All right, we just wrapped up the install of the PRL high volume intake. Just to recap, we have that on there. We also have the PRL titanium intake, downpipe, as well as front pipe. We're gonna go ahead, move this guy over to the dyno room. Now we're not gonna be putting a tune on it per se. We're just gonna see what it does without having a tune and what kind of numbers it produces. So without further ado, let's head over there.
Yeah, I'm shining bright, got me feeling like I'm next level. Feeling like I'm Curry, how I'm balling on a West Road. If you told me back then, oh, I never would've guessed so. Now the way I'm winning, I might have to cut the net. Oh, yeah, I'm shining.
All right, so we got all those parts installed, made our way over to the dyno room here. We got it strapped down. We're gonna do a couple of pulls and see what kind of numbers we make.
Oh, yeah.
So we just loaded the car up on the dyno and I'm just getting everything set up here to go. Just kind of a test to see how all the stuff works with the stock ECU. We haven't even had this car long enough to send the ECU out to be unlocked, which is a requirement to be able to flash these. So we're gonna just see how the stock computer reacts and see how it compensates for everything and see if it picks up any power with doing literally nothing other than bolting these parts on. So good little test, see what's going on, see how the car reacts to things and move forward. The next step is to have the ECU unlocked and start playing with it. So that's what we're gonna do here pretty soon. Let's do like one pull right away.
Woo.
Yeah, for stock, I mean, but for not doing any tuning, it's cool. and it didn't seem to be unhappy, which is good. Cool.
You ready? Yep. This guy. Charlie has joined us and brought pizza, as you can see, just in time as we finish up. Anyways, so there you have it. We did a couple of pulls on the dyno. Of course, we didn't do any tuning whatsoever to the car, so factory ECU. Actually pretty impressed that it was able to keep up with it. Didn't run like absolute garbage like you kind of expect it to. So we did see some decent numbers for just bolting on and again, not doing any tuning. Tiny here can run you through the numbers and what we really saw when it comes to tuning.
Yeah, so we kind of have a good overview of all of the dyno pulls we've done pulled up right now. The car, as expected, figured itself out and wasn't unhappy on the dyno. It definitely kept up, and we can kind of tell that there's room for growth. It didn't make a whole lot more overstock to be expected. It's going to limit itself. It's going to know what torque values it's expecting and pull back from there, and we could definitely see that in the graph. It's pulling itself back, and with some data logging, I could definitely see that too. Like I said, we have nothing hooked up to this, literally strapped to the dyno and me sitting in the chair. So definitely the car wants to make more power, and with some tuning, it's gonna definitely make more. I mean, we've seen that, we know that, but it's just cool in practice to see kind of how the graph is manipulated by the car, learning what's going on and all the extra air in and out. Definitely a cool little piece, and nice to see all this stuff working out, and the car sounds and runs great, so. And
if you want to see what we're able to do with the car, make sure that you watch next week, because that's what we're going to be doing. And of course, as always, if you want to get your hands on any of the parts that you saw here or us install, visit the website or give us a shout, and we'll be happy to help you out. See what I did there? It was a little rhyme, didn't even try that.
Yeah, I'm shining bright, got me feeling like I'm next up. Feeling like I'm Curry, how I'm ballin' on the West Wall. If you told me back then, oh, I never would've guessed so. Now the